Good afternoon to Madam Hani and my fellow classmates. So today, my group is going to present about unemployment in Indonesia. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Ryan.
My name is Rochester Rentap.
My name is Shafi'i.
Hi, my name is Isabel.
Hi, my name is Salma binti Shaizam Khan.
This is the first part of our presentation, which is introduction. So first, I will explain the definition of unemployment. Unemployment can be defined as the number of people who are available and looking for jobs but are unable to find it. People are classified as unemployed if they do not have a job, have actively looked for work in the prior 4 weeks, and are currently available for work. Residents of any institutions, including prisons, jails, mental facilities, homes for the aged, and those on active military duty do not count as unemployed. For the next part is background of study. In this part, I will explain briefly about the background and the unemployment in Indonesia. First, Indonesia is the largest country in Southeast Asia, measuring approximately 5,100 kilometers from east to west and 1,800 kilometers from north to south. It shares a border with countries like Malaysia in northern Borneo and Papua New Guinea in central New Guinea. Unemployment in Indonesia is mostly caused by the lack of job opportunities available for unskilled workers. The country's transition from an agrarian to an industrial and service-oriented economy has revealed new gaps between skills and industrial needs. Indonesia's huge and rising population presents issues for the job sector. In addition, the migration of people from rural areas to cities also leads to unemployment problems in the country.
So, I'll be discussing the unemployment issues in Indonesia and the strategies of being implemented to address them. So, despite some progress, unemployment remains a significant challenge. So, let's start with the first objective, which is decreasing the overall unemployment rate. Indonesia's economy has been growing at about 5% annually, which is higher than the global average. This growth creates a job more opportunities across various sectors like technology and agriculture. So, from August 2023 to August 2024, the services and agriculture sectors alone added 1.31 million jobs. To support this growth, the government is encouraging investment in the high-growth sectors to absorb more unemployed individuals into the workforce. The next challenge is addressing the mismatch between the workforce skill and industry needs. The Kartu Prakerja program launched in 2020 aims to help workers improve their skills through online training. So, however, there are still people with the workforce that has higher level qualification, which creates a skill gap. To tackle this, the government is working on educational reform to better align what is taught in schools with the needs of employers. Next, let's talk about the increasing female workforce participations. Currently, Indonesia family labor force participation is around 53.5%, which is below the regional average of 67%. So to address this, we recommend that it is more flexible for work arrangement such as remote work, part-time schedules, and job sharing. So finally, we will discuss about the year of the youth unemployment. Youth unemployment remains disproportionately high compared to other Asian countries. Key challenges include the high not in education, employment, or training rates among young people, the prevalence of insecure work like temporary contracts and skill mismatch. So to address this, there are multiple strategies, which is to reform government youth employment program, to engage with the private sector to create more secure job for young workers, and also collab internationally to learn best practices for reducing youth unemployment issues in Indonesia. So let's start with the lack of job for unskilled workers. So most of the time, automations, which is using machines and technology, is changing in many industries in Indonesia. While this makes production faster and cheaper for companies, it also means that fewer jobs for people, especially those with the lower skills. In industries like manufacturing and agriculture, machines and robots are replacing jobs that used to be done by humans. So, a World Bank study has said that automation could replace up to 30% of jobs in the next 10 to 20 years. This actually is our main concern for the workers that are losing their jobs. So, the workers that are most affected are those who doesn't have any access to education or training. Without the skills to work with new technology, many people of these workers may struggle to find new jobs, and some could end up in low-paying informal jobs. There's also a growing divide between the urban and rural areas. In cities like Jakarta and Surabaya, automation is making jobs disappear faster. So meanwhile, in the rural areas where people are relying on farming, modern tools and machines are also could replacing the manual labor. This creates a gap where people in the cities may find new job opportunities, but those in the rural areas are left behind. This can widen the gap between the rich urban centers and the poorer rural areas. Now, let us talk about the uneven economic growth. Most of the Indonesia economic growth has been focused in the large cities like Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya. These cities offer for more job opportunities because they attract more investment and businesses. For example, Surabaya has a low unemployment rate of around 3.7%, with many jobs available in different industry. On the other hand, people like Riau Island and Bintan have much higher unemployment rates, up to 7%. So this area actually have fewer jobs, and many people are still relying on traditional industry like fishing and farming, which pay less and are less stable. Because of the lack of jobs in rural areas, many people are moving to the cities to search for the work. However, cities are crowded and the job is very competitive. Migrants often end up with the lower paying informal jobs and with no benefits or job security. Also, the growth in population in cities leads to a problem like overcrowding, poor living condition, and the pressure on the public services. So these issues contribute to economic inequality. People in big cities benefit from higher wages and better living standards, while those in the rural areas continue to face poverty and fewer opportunities. This divide creates frustration, and some areas feel neglected by the government.
Another unemployment issue in Indonesia is population growth. As we all know, Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world with 281 million people as of 2023. The increase in population causes existing job opportunities in Indonesia to be increasingly limited. Due to the large population, most economic sectors in the country are unable to accommodate the large number of workers. The next issue is long-term impact of COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic caused massive employment losses, particularly in tourism, hospitality, and retail. Many workers are still unable to return to their prior employment or secure new positions, especially in industries affected by the pandemic. Many businesses were compelled to decrease their workers or cease operations entirely due to financial restrictions.
I'm going to present the economic theory. So, the first economic theory is Keynesian theory. Keynes theory was the first to distinguish clearly between the study of general aggregate variables and construct and the study of economic behavior and individual motivation. Keynes advocated for more government spending and lower taxes to increase demand and pull the global economy out of depression. Government economic intervention to manage aggregate demand may result in best possible economics performance and prevent recession, was subsequently known as Keynesian economics. So the second theory is Karl Marx theory. The two primary causes with capitalism that leads to a company's abusing power are chaotic nature of free market competition and the exploitation of excess labor. Capitalism will eventually fall apart as more people were pushed into working class, inequality rose, and competition reduced corporate profits to nothing. So the last theory is neoclassical theory. Neoclassical economics holds that customers should prioritize optimizing utilities, commonly known as personal pleasure. According to the rational behavior theory, people make reasonable economic decisions, and this viewpoint is consistent with that view. In other words, people logically decide between two options by determining which is better for them. I'm going to talk about types of unemployment. So the first one is frictional unemployment. So the definition of frictional unemployment is short-term or temporary unemployment that people go through while looking for work include those who are new or returning to the workforce, as well as those who have willingly left their job. So the causes of this is geographic immobility. So what is geographic immobility? Jobs are available in large cities, but workers cannot relocate due to housing or other constraints. So the second one is occupational immobility. Occupational immobility is skilled jobs exist, but many workers lack the required skills to fill them. Okay, for example, recent graduates and school dropouts entering the job market. Re-entrants include those looking for better chances or greater income, such as former housewife. The second one is seasonal unemployment. So the definition of seasonal unemployment is a type of unemployment brought on by the inability to produce or demand particular goods or services during particular seasons, causes temporary short-term layoff throughout specific season of the year. So the causes of this is regular weather variations, climate changes impacting the specific industry. For example, construction workers cannot work during the rainy season because it is impractical. The second one is fishermen. Fishermen unable to fish during the winter or monsoon season due to rough seas condition. Okay, the third type of unemployment is structural unemployment, a type of unemployment brought on by sustained economic shift, such as the demise of certain industries. It happened when employees' ability no longer match the occupation that are offered. So, what causes this structural unemployment? The first one is industry decline. Industry unable to compete or adapt to changes in goods, demand, or manufacturing processes. Okay. The second one is occupational immobility. Workers lack the skill for emerging industry. So when workers lack the skills for doing the product, so it will cause inefficient in the industry. For example, traditional manufacturing industry unable to adapt to modern technology. Okay. The last one is cyclical unemployment, a form of unemployment caused by a lack of demand for goods and services during economic downturns or recession. Okay. What causes this unemployment? Business failure. Companies struggle or fail during economic slumps, contributing to job losses. The second one is gaps in the economy. Businesses face lower demand, prompting them to cut costs by reducing their workforce. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic caused a global economic downturn, and Indonesia experienced reduced in demand in many sectors.
So now we're going to move to the effect of unemployment in Indonesia. The effects are divided into three, and the first is individual effect. This individual effect is unemployment can harm people's confidence and lead to social problems, unrest, and conflicts. In addition, jobless people may also face health issues like taking more medication, poor eating habits, anxiety, depression, drug use, or even a suicidal thought. In Indonesia, young people in travel, retail, and hospitality are the most affected by these job losses. For example, a young worker in Bali might struggle with money, stress, and low in their confidence, leading them to take unstable jobs and low wage, making their future more difficult. So we're going to move to the next effect, which is the society effect. This means that unemployment lowers morale and causes suffering, often driving desperation. This can lead to crimes like theft, violence, as well as more beggars, street performers, and also homeless children. In Indonesia, rising unemployment, driven by a large population, low education, and a job scarcity, is worsened by an economic crisis, causing businesses closures. In conclusion, this forced some people to turn to crimes, creating a cycle of poverty and hardship for all. And the last effect is economic effect. Due to the permanent loss of output, products, and services, it is a waste of resources. It causes a high unemployment rate, means that an economy is not making use of all of its resources, particularly its worker pools. The economic efficiency and output are declining as it operates below its production potential per year. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, jobs in Indonesia were heavily affected by the economic crisis. The pandemic created uncertain working conditions, causing the unemployment rates to rise. And in conclusion, many workers lost their jobs because businesses were unable to operate as usual. So now we're going to move to the types of policy that used in Indonesia. So for the first policy is monetary policy. Monetary policy is how the government or the central bank manage the money supply to achieve stable prices and balance the economic growth. It also supports steady economic growth by encouraging businesses to invest and consumers to spend, often through tools like adjusting interest rate and controlling the money supply. And the goal of this policy is to create a stable and growing economy that benefits everyone. So for the next policy which is the fiscal policy, or known as the budget policy, is when the government uses the spending taxes to influence the economy, aiming to grow the economy, create jobs, and support businesses by balancing demands through adjustment in spending and taxes. In addition, this policy also seeks to control the inflation by stabilizing prices and ensuring that income is distributed fairly across all regions and promoting social justice. And for the last policy is the Kartu Prakerja program. This public policy is aimed to improve job skill and entrepreneurship abilities. It helps job seekers, laid-off workers, and small businesses owners by offering training program through an easy-to-use digital platform. This platform allows people to find, compare, and choose the right courses to build skills and support Indonesia growth. In the 2022 assessment by Presisi Indonesia, found that 49% of Kartu Prakerja recipients gain more confident, and it's helping them to start and growing their own business.
Moving on to the unemployment rate, we will be referring to the chart included in the slide. In the early 1990s, Indonesia had a relatively low unemployment rate of about 2 to 3%. However, there seemed to be a noticeable increase in the early 2000s, reaching about 8%. The reason for this high rise in unemployment was due to the Asian financial crisis, which impacted most of Asian countries' economies from 1997 to 1998. This crisis had left a long-term impact on their economy, with the jobless rate remaining high for several years. The economy showed an improvement after 2007, with the unemployment rate decreasing as the country recovered from the economic crisis. By 2023, the rate had decreased to 3.42%, showing a noticeable improvement over the decades. This encouraging development demonstrates Indonesia's efforts to boost economic growth and create jobs for the people. Meanwhile, the red bar chart represents years when the unemployment rate decreases, and the green bars represent years when it increases. Next is recommendations on how to solve the issue. Firstly is promoting education and skill development. I think it is crucial to support education and skill development in order to assist unskilled workers in adjusting to the challenges posed by technology. Expanding vocational training programs that give people the specialized skills needed in automation-affected areas like manufacturing and agriculture is one of the approaches to implement this. These programs aim to emphasize experiential hands-on learning in order to guarantee that employees are comfortable using contemporary tools and technology. The second recommendation, which I think would help, is promoting regional development. Encouraging regional development is essential to closing Indonesia's economic divide between urban and rural communities. This may be accomplished by encouraging investment in rural areas by offering tax exemptions and other government incentives to start businesses and generate employment. Businesses find rural locations to be more accessible and appealing when infrastructure such as ports, highways, and communication networks is improved. Enhancing access to essential utilities like clean water, power, and internet connectivity lays the groundwork for long-term growth, while providing financial and training support to local businesses increases productivity. The third recommendation is creating more job opportunities. In my point of view, to overcome the problem of unemployment due to the large population, the Indonesian government needs to open up more job opportunities, which focuses on rural areas such as the Java Islands. This can then reduce the high unemployment rate in large cities and overcome the problem of population density. If more job opportunities are created in rural areas, then residents in those areas will not need to leave the region to find work. The last recommendation that I will present is focusing on strengthening social safety nets. From my perspective, an important solution to address the impact of COVID-19 is to strengthen social safety nets. Many people lost their jobs during the pandemic, which pushes them into poverty, especially those with lower incomes. To help them, the government can provide direct cash transfers, unemployment benefits, and food assistance. These methods can help people meet their basic needs and keep the economy going by encouraging them to spend money on essential goods and services. In addition, the government should make healthcare and education more affordable for everyone. In conclusion, combating unemployment in Indonesia demands coordinated efforts to tackle structural issues, promote regional development, and align education with labor market needs. By addressing these challenges, Indonesia can pave the way for sustainable economic growth and social equity. That is all from us. Thank you.